to our fourth host.
Okay,
Yes.
we're all on the same page then.
Yep. You know, you read me like a book, Mr. North.
That's right. The comic book pictures so colorful.
A coloring book.
Straight out of
the lines.
But we're here to talk about The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 3, Warning Signs. And I guess this, I don't consider this spoilers because A, it was in the next on, and it's been splattered everywhere across the internet. You can't turn on your computer without seeing it, but it looks like we know that Rick Grimes has 2 more episodes left.
Spoilers.
Now, do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that AMC is like leaning into it and letting everybody know?
I didn't want it.
They want the ratings up, so
That's
I
exactly it. Yeah,
that's what they want.
I don't know.
I think they if they didn't, I think they chose to do that because of where the ratings are. Like if the ratings were better than what they are, they'd probably hide that from you. But because they are where they are, they're going to make you know, so you know to watch.
I don't know. I didn't appreciate that.
Like I can't say that I agree with the choice. Like as far as how unsullied I'd say from what goes on in the next upcoming episodes, but at the same time, it's like I see the logic of it.
I just don't want an episode of Talking Dead where we're like, all right, everybody, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this.
Just as a little teaser, unbeknownst to my co-host, have a little prize to give away.
Hey,
What you talking about?
For the listeners. I will talk more about that at the end of the episode.
No, we didn't agree on this.
Well, I don't need your decision.
We did not agree on this.
I don't need your input on this, girl. I got it covered, buddy.
I
Jim
do-
Tatum.
I know you'd rather we make the decisions together.
We're gonna do
But
it together, Jim.
don't be a B, okay?
I'm going to write the rules and regulations from law for this podcast.
or maybe being an A. Did you ever
Be an
think
A or a B, okay?
The last thing we need is Daryl being a big bird around here.
I'm going to be a B.
Or an aviator.
Yeah. Knowing that I guess we can talk about this later on with the episode, but knowing that Rick's going to be gone coming soon, it does make me speculate in certain directions as to how things will occur in the preceding episodes. We'll get there, I guess, when we talk about this episode, because there's some reveals that happen this week that I think are important. So,
Yeah.
Also, this is a great episode, by the way, guys. I'm very happy to be on this week because I think this episode is pretty terrific all around. So I'm excited to talk about it.
So the episode starts, and we kind of follow a walker. There's like a area, and we see what I wrote in my notes, fresh meat, because the walkers have something to gnaw on. And as we see, it turns out it's Justin. And on the side of the building there's a spray painted sign that says, well, it's not a sign, it's just spray painted on there. It says "Final Warning." And it was a pretty short cold open this week. I mean, they kind of vary in length. And it always freaks me out when they do the short cold open, because they haven't seen them do it much lately. But I remember, like, towards the beginning of the show, when they do a short cold open and go to the credits, they would come back to the episode before going to commercial break. And so it always freaks me out if I'm watching it on the DVR. It's like, okay, do I fast forward 3 minutes because I know there's going to be commercials, or do I just go 30 seconds and just see if there's commercials, because maybe they'll come back after the credits.
And they didn't eat them all either. It was weird. I always think about Lori, how she got all eaten, and he didn't. Totally made me think about that. Like, they just ate enough of him. I think that's how it would probably be, right? You eat enough of him, but then they realize he's dead, so then they don't want it anymore.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess I never thought about it really. They don't eat their own, so yeah, that's a good point.
No, they don't eat their own. So I like that little detail.
I didn't think about that.
Speaking of kind of cut to the beginning, or cut to the intro, I know you guys have talked about it already, but the new intro to the show, I'm not a big fan of it.
Really?
Maybe just because I really didn't like the finale last year, so saying the whole intro focused on that stupid stained glass thing on the stupid tree just rubs me the wrong way. But I look at it, I was like, of the problems I've had with the show, it's never the intro. I like the intro. It just feels longer to me for some reason. This is such a weird complaint, but it's like, I feel like the new intro emphasizes how ridiculously large this cast is when it shouldn't be this big, because it takes up too much time to focus on everybody. And it's like, I like the old intro. It seems like it cut to the chase a lot quicker.
See, I'm just like the opposite. I think we talked about it. I think you are in the minority opinion on this one.
Oh, sure, yeah. But it's been 9 years. I can take a new intro. It just starts with that damn tree, and I'm like, I don't care about the stupid stained glass thing. You want to start with, if they started with like Lori underneath the car she flipped over, that'd probably be more happy than the stupid stained glass thing. So.
Shameful.
I'm just happy. I think when it came out, I think my thing on it was they're changing so many things, showrunner direction, kind of focus. It was cool. I thought it was a good symbolic way to telegraph that to the viewers, is that they're changing things up, they're changing the open. So
Yeah,
I get what you're saying. The stained glass thing annoys me too. It's fine.
9 years in, change the intro cool enough. I think it also doesn't help that I think Fear the Walking Dead's new intro was so cool to me. Like, I was so happy what they went for with that. Where it's like, okay, I like the visual look of it. I like the designs. I guess some of the choices for imagery just kind of got to me. I was like, all right, that seems like that's a nice first pass. What's the next one? And that's what we're left with. I'm just trying to help us lose viewers that disagree with me. Or sorry, listeners, before we get into big things.
Oh, wow.
Just like the rate for the show.
Yes.
Dare you.
So after the cold open and the commercial break, we come back and Rick gets up and kisses Michonne goodbye and checks on Judith. And
Michonne, she did some evil sleeping. Did you see that look on her face when she was sleeping? Oh, she did a face. She did such a face like she was fighting in her sleep. She did not look like she wanted to get up. Do not disturb Michonne when she's asleep.
When you have a samurai sword going around cutting up zombies all day, Black Panther's Midnight Guerrero is not going to be like, let me wake up, be all happy.
Right. As a husband, your job is not to make her wake up.
I'd love to see a bunch of alarm clocks cut in half by katanas.
I can see that. I can totally see that. That'd be great.
But yeah, we get to see more of Alexandria and what a good place it's in, right? Like, there's crops growing everywhere. People seem generally happy. They're rebuilding. Rick picks a nice ripe tomato. I'm assuming he went to Carl's grave. Is that what you guys?
Yeah, it's the same.
That was my takeaway.
Yeah. And she found another letter.
And as somebody who grows tomatoes, the 2 different tomatoes in this episode looked great. Tomatoes.
They did look good.
I got here on the farm, and they don't look that good. They look good.
I'm a little surprised that somebody hasn't made like a big statue, a marble statue of St. Carl to put in his grave yet. But besides that, like, I really like
it's coming.
the idealistic look at Rick's vision of the future.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great set. I like this episode a lot. I really like how it starts out in like the brightest possible, beyond seeing Bridge Dick Justin waking up as a zombie. Seeing Rick wake up and just have this kind of sense of tranquility going on here as he walks through his perfect society. It's a great things are. I'm looking at this thing. Things are clearly going to go downhill after all these years. So it's like this is a great setup here. And that big red tomato is just a great vision of like, this is what happened after. And like the way it comes back multiple times in the episode, like, I just love this imagery. Like I've harked upon how much it's very much against some of the heavy-handed symbolism on the show sometimes, but this was like a really great example of how you do it correctly, where you have characters where you understand where they're at and you allow them to have conversations that mean something to me. So if you're going to throw in something that's visually interesting on top of that, it can actually work to the show's advantage.
Are we referring to the Bridge of metaphors. We talked about last episode.
I didn't mind the bridge so much just because, I mean, it makes sense and it's obvious. But again, I mean, it's a good example as far as fitting into the show. Like, yes, it's a very heavy-handed way of doing it, but compared to some of the past seasons where we've talked about before how very obvious they make some of the symbolism, these are things that they both apply for practical reasons, but also there's enough conversation going on around it where I can appreciate that they're also visually representing that as well, as opposed to just like throwing in something to like make sure you get it, even though it's so obvious to you. So I just think it's a big step up as far as incorporating those aspects with the the writing of the characters.
Yeah, Rick looks too happy.
Yeah.
He is so happy. I tell you, he looks so at peace with himself in this episode. I don't know if Lincoln, ready to leave, like being at peace with the decision to leave the show as well, but he just looks so peaceful about everything.
Yeah, I have a comment to make. I'll save my comment for a few minutes, but I have something that I almost was expecting they would use. But when Rick comes back to the house, Michonne's up and she's working on the charter. So she's gung ho and serious about this whole getting the laws in place. Now she was an attorney, obviously, so I think that makes a cool callback that she would be so vested in wanting to establish law and order, rules, all that kind of stuff, and
totally.
somebody with a legal background that would make sense.
Yeah, the lawyer's got a brain for detail.
That's what I was hearing kind of in the season opener too, as far as Michonne, like her background factoring into how she's talking with Maggie about things, and just the way between ending last week, but between like negotiations of how to handle prisoners or whatnot. It's like, yeah, this is a person that like it's good the show's not forgetting these like who these people are and who they were and make that relevant again. Like it's a good place to be right now.
Yeah, especially for her because we've talked about how her character has expanded in the last couple seasons. Where when she first came in, barely spoke, barely had any lines, like underutilized as an actress and a character, and so that they're finally letting her to come out of her shell, so to speak. And I guess it makes sense from a character perspective too. Why she was so closed up and everything that happened to her. But I'm enjoying that they're doing more with her for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it too.
She's gonna have a lot of heavy lifting.
I like a lot of the callbacks they make to the continuity too. I mean, there are quite a few in this episode as it goes on. And on one side, I mean, Michonne's pretty well known throughout all the different communities. So I mean, if anyone were to be accessible to, and believable, incredible, someone making sure like that would be her. Plus, calling back to her like before everything went to crap was great.
It's a big positive for me that comes from getting rid of the Negan factor. It's not a matter of not liking Negan, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I like Jeffrey Morgan. But the idea of not having to have this bigger than life character and all his stuff that goes with him, and having the Rick side of things just be all about we got to find a way to get Negan. Like now we can actually focus on these characters again. So it's giving us more of Michonne and more of Daryl, and more of Maggie, and obviously, more of Rick in another direction. Like we're actually getting to see these characters in a way that doesn't feel like it has been for the past few seasons now. So it's getting back to what I think really works about this show.
And the conflict is much more interesting than here's another big bad to deal with. Oh, it's the governor. Oh, it's Negan. What's this and that? It's Terminus or whatever. The conflict is much more interesting because it's much more nuanced and much more on many different levels. You have
the Walking Dead did.
Yeah, exactly. You have the friction between Rick and Maggie. You have the friction between Rick and Daryl. I mean, all the conflict is like you said, Aaron, coming from the characters rather than from some external force acting on them. So it's much more interesting.
Interesting is a matter of like that's not inherently bad, but it's like when you see multiple seasons of that approach, it's time to recharge the engines here. And I feel like they've done that finally. We're really kind of moving into fresh territory with the way we're at right now.
Yeah. And was it me or so they have Rick and Michonne have a conversation about the fact that she's a little worried about Judith. She has a little bit of cough, but Rick says she doesn't have a fever. Michonne wants her to take her to Sadiq and just have her checked out. And Rick says, well, he'll stay. He said, are you not wanting me to go? And she said, well, she's not going to want to go see Sadiq. And so Rick would need to help. So he decides he's going to take the day and maybe the weekend. And he talks about how Maggie's going to be there. She could take over for a little bit and give him a bit of a break. And as the end of the conversation, it was pretty clear to me that what Rick was talking about with Michonne was he wants to make another baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, I picked up on that too.
Yeah.
It's which is again great job on the actors. But they have great chemistry.
They do. They
really well together. Yes. And the idea you can get so much. I can't remember the name of it. So the episode where it's just them like clearing out a bunch of different areas. Like they're at a carnival or something, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
They were.
It's like like they don't need to do much to convince you that they're like really good together. Yeah, that's a great credit to the actors and the show for realizing that they're really good together.
And something I wouldn't say about the comics, like if they would have done that in the comics, it wouldn't have. I would have. I mean, who knows? I mean, it didn't happen, so you don't know how you'd feel. But I wouldn't have. I don't think I would feel the same way just based on the way.
Never would have saw them together in the comics. I never saw that.
Yeah.
To be fair, like Michonne's kind of fulfilling the role of another character in the comics.
Sure.
For sure. That's what I mean. It would like their world, their path was just so different, not in that way. You just never saw them going that way in the comics.
Yeah, for sure. And you can. I mean, it is always neat to kind of look at where things are now, look at the comics, and see. Well, since certain people are alive and certain people aren't on both sides of things, it's neat to see where those through lines have taken certain people compared to others.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to these relationships that we have, and like the dynamic on display. Like as much as I lament the idea of Carl being absent from the show, because I do think this is a very interesting period for him in the comics. I do like what's going on with Ezekiel, for example, in the show, because it's like, well, I know what they are doing, but I like how they have to proceed on their own course. Like that's fun, and it's a fun way to be like, yeah, I read the comics, but it's not slavishly devoted, so I don't have to be like, oh, it's different, so blah. It's like, no, this is fun because it's different.
You should do a multiverse.
Yeah, when they first started shipping Rick and Michonne, I was like, wow, because all I know is in the comics, but Aaron and Lincoln have really sold me on it. Like you said, Aaron with their acting. So
they seem to like each other for real. Like they seem to generally be actors who like to work together. Like with Fear the Walking Dead with Addison and what's his name?
Strand.
Yeah, like those. You can tell when certain actors like to work with each other. Like they really work well. They work well off of each other, and you see that with the characters of Michonne and Rick.
I hear you. Yeah.
Works pretty well. I like it. I'm a fan. I just don't want to know that he's gone in 2 episodes.
I like the way all this good vibrations contrast to what happens near the end of the episode too. So
yeah,
that's different ends of the roller coaster. Yeah.
It's like you're waiting now. You're just because it's too happy, right?
The whole montage of Rick crawling on the ground of Judith.
Too happy. It's just too much happiness.
He's all silent. They're in the grass, like rolling around.
I'm like, oh man, you can't have all this happiness here. That means
Reno the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's got to even out. That means something gonna happen. It's gonna be bad.
You might as well play that Savior song at the
exactly. It's just too much happiness. But it was funny. It was cute to see them together though. see them have that little day with each other. Family day, as they call it.
Is it just me, or did I get like it just felt not out of place, but it just felt weird. Like it felt like a sitcom montage.
I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't. Just like Rick being silly, and they gave Judith more screen time in that 2.5 minutes or whatever than she probably had combined.
What really took the wind out of it afterwards with the 2 episodes left thing.
Yeah.
Like after that, you go, oh, that's why they're doing that. Okay.
But then in the beginning, I kept waiting for them to play like "Come On Get Happy" from the Partridge Family or something like that.
It was almost, or we can hear another one of those Carl songs.
People, let me tell you about my best.
I think I would rather hear either of those than another Carl song. But
No.
I hope the Carl song plays at his marble statue.
It has to. It should have a little thing.
It's a little motion detector.
Hologram comes out.
You'll hear the song, and then you'll see like Gerald said, like hologram with Force Ghost.
Yeah.
yes.
And then he starts reading the letters.
He's the centerpiece of the Walking Dead museum they're building in Alexandria.
and Rick read those letters.
Yeah.
And that's what stopped the war.
Okay. Yeah, happy fun time, but that thing get that much darker.
Yeah, and then we get whiff of some trouble that more of the saviors are going missing and things are starting to get out of hand. And then of course we cut to the bridge camp and everybody is at each other's throats. And given the way that they found Justin's body, they're pretty sure that it was either Daryl or Ann, and a lot of them are leaning towards Daryl. Some of them.
I'm happy too. Oh, there's another happy moment. They had Beatrice back.
Yes.
Brianna, what's her, Vescus?
I just call
I
her.
love what she's on.
Oh, the Oceanside people.
Yeah. Yeah, Brianna Venskis. I call
Yeah,
her.
she came back from the other world.
Yeah, she crossed over from her stay in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's right.
Soon
She's
to be
cool.
crossing over again to do another stint on Supergirl.
Oh, you know it. It's fascinating.
So
I would love to see that.
the big fight on the bridge. I like how it's like the guy was it Alden who tries to break it up. Is like, run big. Who are you, man? Like, are you?
You're not one of us anymore.
Are you the spokesman for both sides now? Like that too. But I also
Yeah,
like
really got kicked.
the response is like he says the whole thing, and then one guy just wants him to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
It's like, not even a response. Not even like a build up to it. He's just like, I don't like what you're saying. He punches him.
Yeah.
It got so tribal, right? It's like you're with them now. You're not with us. We don't like you anymore.
And it really highlights the fact that, given the fact that nothing happened, right? Like he punches him in the face, and then things are possibly going to get out of hand, but there's no repercussions at that point. And again, I think it's highlighting more that there's no rules. There's no as far as justice and law, and people doing things, and for as much as Rick is trying to have everybody come together and to be this one big happy family, that's a huge anyway, it's a huge issue that keeps rearing its head in subtle and not
and
subtle
it's
ways.
fear, right?
Yeah.
It's like Laura, like some of the saviors that kind of didn't want to live that life anymore are like Laura's one of them.
Yeah.
Where she's like, you can tell. I mean, I like the way that she carries it out, the faith, and the things she says and the mannerisms. It's like, I don't want to go back to that because they will kill us. Like, like we went to the brink,
Yeah.
Going all out, and I don't want to go back to that. Like, I getting a taste of this kind of living. I don't want to do this.
Well, plus they're scared because Justin disappeared and was killed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're scared of that too. But it's a lot of with the one you can tell the saviors that don't want this piece to go away, and the ones who kind of want to go back to that Negan kind of way, of doing it. Yeah, it's in all the, you can just tell, like it's in all the different communities. You can tell the ones that really want to, that are really worried about going back to that, to that time, that chaos again.
Yeah,
You just don't want it.
We kind of talked over the when Maggie gets stopped on her carriage on the way to the
Yeah.
I never know where everybody's going in this fucking place. Alexandria, I assume.
No, she was going to the bridge because it was
Yeah,
trying
right,
to
right,
go
bring the supply.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. And like I wrote Sanctuary Bros in my notes because it's
Word, that's Jed.
it's come out the woods and Jed's there. And he takes it's the second time we see the tomato. That's why I pointed out. And he takes a big bite out of it. It's this big juicy tomato.
It really hurts that they didn't have, I mean, and I know if they did, it probably would have even got worse, but it really hurts that they didn't have any kind of trials for the ones that really did a lot of, like some really serious.
There was like some Nuremberg equivalent for
Yeah, because by not having it, it's like to have people that dude, like other people who are victims of these guys, of some of these bros and who have done these kills, to tell them to walk around with them. It's one thing to know that just from the Sanctuary, you just hate everybody from the Sanctuary. But it's another thing to look and see, you're the dude that, months ago or last year, you killed my, my brother, you killed my mother, or or you tried to kill me. Like, that's a hard thing to have.
And not only that, but people that did the killing and enjoyed it.
Yes, because they got caught up in that life.
Yeah. And
it's like, you're asking a lot. I mean, and that's another thing with Maggie, what she's trying to say. Like, you're asking us to let it go. It's like, it wasn't even like they went to jail. You're just saying, get a pass.
You're exactly right. I do, looking at this, it actually makes me appreciate putting Maggie and Daryl together and on the side against Rick. Like, I know we were kind of griping against that kind of turn at the end of last season, but I feel like this show's done a good job of getting us to why we need to see that rivalry. Because this is an exact example of what you're saying. It is a perfect point. If you're going to create a sense of peace, you can't. It's impossible to just kind of let go of the past, and that's very much. I mean, that's exactly the point of this episode when it comes to who's actually murdering some of the Sanctuary people. Because you're stuck in the scenario that doesn't make sense. It makes sense for Rick because hey, we're not fighting anymore and whatnot. No more dying and tomatoes, yay! But you can't. There needs to be a little more pragmatic approach to some of these things. So it's like, yeah, okay, sure, we're not fighting, but chaos still rules. It's just a fence around it now. And like that's not better. Like that's not necessarily better.
No, there's never going to be a friendship circle with people who did these horrible things.
There's been no rehabilitation to happen to
no, there's been none.
Especially with the Simon group, essentially. Right. Most of them got murdered, but the ones that were like that were like
left, like they're peppered in, and if you see friends of them or whatever, and you see them out there, like this is a human. When you if you look at this and you go, no, you're not gonna see another day.
It doesn't help that the Sanctuary folks that are like this are cast so obviously.
Yes,
all the bad ones look like the worst people that you ever run into.
Yes, there's still those dudes. I mean, and I know it's part of it's it's TV. You want to look like people you hate, but when you think about it, though, the ones that would rise to the cream of the crop in a Negan world would be those type of dudes, right? Only the strong would be the ones that would be the leaders or the ones with the most power in that world.
I think the interesting part about it is you can kind of see everybody's POV too. It's not like, oh, you're the evil one and bad one or whatever. I mean, obviously the saviors are scared and they're longing for the security they had under Negan. The Hilltop people don't know what's going on because they're giving up all their food for all these people they don't trust.
Right.
The whole legal thing they're setting everything on is kind of shaky. I mean, you understand why there's all this tension. It's not like there's one bad, one good. It's not black and white. It's shades of gray. It's much more realistic.
And why would they like us? Like, and that's the other thing with the sanctuaries as well. Like, if those kind of dude bros and stuff, they would think to themselves, why would you though? Why would you treat me well? I did kill your people. I did do horrible things. I did do all those things. Why would you why would you treat me right? I don't trust this. I don't trust that this is going to be cool. I just think you want us to just sit around and work and do things. And once it's all done, you just don't kill us.
It makes for... It's great that it's not great that Rick's leaving necessarily, but it's great that this is meant that we need to expand the role of Daryl. Because as much as it's fun to just talk about how cool Daryl is, I do think Norman Reedus is very good on this show. I think when given the material, he's very good at delivering that material. So expanding it, so he's earning that paycheck as far as I'm concerned. Because each week so far this season, he's been, he's had lines, he's had things to say, he's had conversations to get into with Rick and Maggie, and they're very meaningful. And so having him talk to Maggie about what's going on and talk to Rick about what's going on and seeing these various philosophies clashing with each other, it's just such a great again, it's refreshing. Action's fun every now and then. This episode has a cool action sequence with the zombies, but this show can really work as far as a well-written character drama, which is what I think a lot of people were drawn to begin with, and it's doing that again. It's hitting those marks in a way I haven't seen in quite some time. So that's why I'm so positive on this. I'm seeing the actors that they have on the show doing good acting.
I think it's cool too. I mean, if you, I don't know if you've been listening to the show or whatever, but a lot of our Facebook comments, people have been watching the show for a long time. It's said the same thing. It's a return to form. It's a return to being more of a character-driven drama than a more plot-driven. So
I read everything on the Facebook page because I care and because I monitor, but because I care.
Okay.
One of the things too that we don't have, or that they I think another maybe flaw in Rick's plan is that we never had like a Nuremberg style trial with these people. Like they never got to the bottom of like, okay, who was truly under duress and did things that they had to do because they were coerced or forced or threatened or whatever, and who was doing this and just loving it or enjoying it and went a little too deep with the killing and whatever else that the saviors are doing. And so it's like you locked up Negan, who was the leader and the worst of the worst, but you left everybody else and just said basically said amnesty, you're all given if you just get in line and and try and be civil. And what we're seeing is there's some people that applies to, that they're like, hey, we're just in a bad situation, we had no choice, we didn't revel in this. And then you're seeing the people that we're seeing it with, I think with Jed is a perfect example, and then we see a little later on where these people were put in bad situations and didn't reluctantly do what they had to do because it was a you or me situation. They actually put some flavor into it, and it's amping up the tension and it's amping up the problems, and it's why people like Maggie and Daryl and some of these other folks are having trouble integrating these people, because they just don't they see that side of it. And Rick, I think he knows it. He's just turning a blind eye to it because it doesn't fit into his vision for what he wants this to be.
Everybody didn't get a car letter.
Right.
I don't want to jump ahead too far. I don't want to jump ahead too far, but there's a great line later in this episode where somebody asks Maggie, is he a Negan or is he
a Gregory?
A Gregory, right?
Yes,
Like there's no consistency.
That's the barometer. They don't know what to do because it's two different leaders, right? And they're looking at Maggie and they're going, well, I like Maggie's, I like how Maggie's dealing with it, and and there's others that like the way that Rick is doing. But it's definitely it's a hard choice because emotionally, this really hit me emotionally because you can definitely feel how some of these characters feel.
Yeah.
I could be on that end where I'm like, you're gonna get got. Like I can't sit there and watch you just live your life, and I know what you did. Like you're not gonna sit around and just be happy.
The real worst thing about not getting a trial is that we didn't get to cast the Walking Dead members as various members of the court. Where Ezekiel would obviously be the judge in full game mode. Michonne would be one of the lawyers. Eugene would be the defense attorney, obviously. You have Jadis would obviously be the courtroom artist. Yeah. I mean, all these missed opportunities for the show right here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it really is a dilemma because it is not an easy fix. This is not something that's an easy fix. Then it also counts to who has family, who's in a good place right now that's like willing to not have this happen. Like Rick has kids. He has a good life right now.
What's great is that these are human mistakes, and we're not criticizing the show for these.
No.
It makes a level of sense of why it's happening this way, and it's going to presumably pay off, most likely in a very dramatic way down the line. So we're getting some great setup for the drama here, which is wonderful. Like I'm so excited on where things are going to go from this point. Like they walk off at the sunset at the end, and I'm like, what does that mean? They're going to go see about Negan. I want to know this.
Yeah.
I want to see where this is going.
Like the Carols of this, the situation where they've seen so much death. And they've been people that have done some things. And they're like, she wants the peace. She doesn't want to do this again. She's found a little bit of happiness right now. But what about the people that didn't? The people that dead, they haven't found happiness. They're still at a point where it's like, I don't have much to lose. I'll die taking that dude out, but I know this dude is not going to live another day, or this person that did these horrible things are not going to live another day. And I don't want them to live in a world of peace after what they've done.
Isn't it fun that Carol still gets moments to be a badass?
Yeah, sure.
Like dude holds a knife to her neck, I'm like, this isn't going to go well for him.
Sure. I was like, dude, bro, you really want to push her, don't you? Okay, dude, bro.
Pick the wrong lady to mess with.
Yeah, go ahead, do that. Be that guy. See what happens. It's going to hurt.
But I love that Rick literally rides in on his horse and saves the day. Just as things are getting totally out of hand. I was expecting Maggie to pull out the pistol and fire it into the air and just everybody kind of calm down. I thought that's how that was going, and then boom, here comes Rick on his horse.
I like this even better. Yeah,
you got to keep building him up because it's going to be a hard fall. It's going to hit more. The more they see Rick the Savior, that's weird, but Rick the War Stopper, I don't know what we call him.
I think you hit him, but you know what? I like the way you said that. I think that hit on that, like Rick the Savior. I totally like what you did because that is what we're getting to now. We're starting to get that way with some of the characters where they're like, you are, this whole thing of you being the total savior for this thing, and you're not dealing with the hard, truth about this world. We have to deal with these people that have done these things.
Yeah, he's on this kind of opposite path. Excuse me. He's on this opposite path of Negan as far as how he's enacting his rule, but the logic behind it is very similar.
Yeah.
And it's not like Daryl or Aaron or some of the other people haven't called that out to him before. Like, who does that sound like? It's like, yeah, who does that sound like indeed? So it's, as much as I can take or leave getting more Negan, I will be curious what they do with him if he's going to continue being a part of the series and seeing where things are going from here, especially with Rick leading. It's like it's such a weird hole to like go to the show where I don't know what my expectations are going to be because it's like, well, that's a huge thing.
In the episode afterwards, is going to be remember when he drove all those kids on that bus?
Guys, I feel like it's going to be less and less likely that he's going to wake up in the hospital and it was all a dream.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing anymore, guys. I don't know if we can describe that theory. That theory where Rick was dreaming that he not only was imagining a zombie apocalypse, but had multiple subplots involving characters that he's not around to see. That theory's about to fall apart. I don't know why, guys.
Oh no.
He knows that embellishment is the heart of good storytelling.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a great writer when he's not a cop.
Right. When he's in a coma, he's like Thomas Pynchon or something.
He's like
he's George's Pynchon.
He's like, and Laurie and our son Carl, and he grew his hair out, and he wrote these letters, and he had his band, and it was crazy.
He writes satirical zombie noir.
That's why Maggie has Carl hair. He's projected that onto Maggie.
He did. He totally did. She so has Carl hair right now.
So after everything kind of disperses out, the main conflict is settled, and Rick goes up to Gabriel and talks to him about Anne, and he's like, look, he makes a good point though. He said, look, even if she didn't do it, and I don't think she did it, but people think she did it, and if people think she did it, then she's in just as much danger whether she did it or people think she did it.
Right.
And so Gabriel's like, no, I was with her all last night, and no, she couldn't have been her. And
he's such a gentleman
yeah,
too.
we'll find out in a bit that wasn't the case.
Yeah, he's no bro.
Yeah,
he's such a gentleman.
But then we get this. The next is the Rick and Daryl conversation, which I like a lot. We go in the tent, and Daryl's like, hey, why don't you just come out and ask me? And they just have a really good talk about Rick doesn't think he did it, but again, he says the same thing to Daryl that he says to Gabriel. He's like, look, no, I don't think you did it, but there's people out there that think you did it, and
all of those things are the wrong things to say to these people at this particular time.
Yeah.
They're all the wrong things. He doesn't realize it.
But he does.
It's a great conversation as opposed to let's manufacture drama between them so they can get into a fist fight. This is like this is what adults sound like talking to each other.
Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, and the wedge just keeps getting driven further and further between them.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of
Emotional
hope
wedge,
at the
yeah.
end where Rick talks to Daryl and he's like, look, I just want you to try. Like, I want you, but Rick basically said, look, there was a time where I thought like you, there was nothing I wanted more than to kill him. But he said, I want you to try and see it. He goes, kind of like you did when I left your brother for dead and you didn't come back.
Nice callback.
Yeah, and it was, and I think in that moment, and so again, there's two things that happen in this episode where I think Daryl and Maggie are almost there with Rick. Like they're just like, okay, I get it, right? Like that makes sense. Daryl didn't go off and kill Rick when he left Merle for dead. So why can't, if Daryl found it in him to forgive Rick and treat him like a brother almost, can't he at least give a little bit of forgiveness for these saviors and to try and all get along? And I think that left a little bit of a mark on Daryl after the end of that conversation.
There's layers there too with Daryl and Rick because Daryl's deep down he knew his brother was a bad person.
Yes.
So it's like you can get into that. Well, with the saviors, that's a lot more gray because there's a lot more people to deal with, and it's not all of them are bad, not all of them are good. But it's also like, well, what am I making decisions on here? How am I supposed to determine what makes the most sense? Which is why it makes plenty of sense that he and Maggie are like, well, our only real answer is get rid of Negan. Like we know he's bad. Like that's our best course of action.
Well,
get rid of some of this pain we have.
Yeah, I think the one difference though is with their situations and now is that there are not a whole bunch of other victims. They have to see these other victims here, and it's too overwhelming for them to. You can't ignore that. It's, like in their situation, the Rick, they were in a bad